Oh, Buwop is still there. Hello, friends. Today we are going to be doing something that I had promised for when we hit 300. We are going to be. Oh, hold on. We're going to be reviewing, as some of you may know on my Twitter, I do a series of Sprite Recolors where essentially I take, like, it's almost exclusively fighting game sprites, but I recolor them with the color palette of other VTubers. So we're going to be going through, taking a look, seeing what each of them look like, and if there's any special funky designs with them. So actually, let me also turn on some music here. I made a little playlist. I actually should probably. I'll say it at the start, I'll say it at the end, and I'll type it in chat as well. This playlist is Music Box remixes, and please go check out R3 Music Box on YouTube, because they make wonderful little quick music box covers of songs. There we go. So, let's start off now. The first one is, hold on. The first one, the one that I started off the list with, is, I'm sure a number of you are familiar with the VTuber Iron Mouse, but hers was the first one that I did, and I just did it as like a fan thing, and I said, hey, I actually really like this. And so basically, this is a recolor of Platinum the Trinity sprite. But I suppose I should also establish, what do you call it? I should establish what the kind of rules I set for myself were. The main rule was that, like, I had to use, colors that were on the original model. I couldn't, like, for, like, the shading of the pink, for example, up here, you see. I couldn't, like, just interpret what that shade would be. I had to, like, find somewhere on the model or on a reference sheet where there was a shaded version of the pink, and I could use that. And so I did that for basically all of these. I technically cheated on one of them, and we'll get to that one. But ultimately, the finished product doesn't break the rule of the like, whole setup. So, with that in mind, let's move on to the next one. The next one being the first one that I actually did as a request, which was for Tiniest Mars. Very nice. Obviously, check out all these people on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, whatever you can find or see them on. Definitely give them a check out there, because they're all, from my experience at least, they're all very nice. So, this is a Now It's Okay recolor, and I actually, again, took some liberties with this. So I messed with the hair a little bit, and this is me slightly breaking a unofficial rule I had for myself, which is that I wasn't just gonna draw new stuff on the, on the, like, models, because otherwise then what's the point of it being a palette swap if I'm just drawing new stuff on the model. However, for the sake of sort of faith to the original, well, actually, let me go fix my window real quick. Creaky window. I have returned. So, um, because in the original, like their original design, they have horns. And it was difficult because not a lot of fighting game characters have horns. And I thought, well, I'm already using Naotoke, and because of how his hair spikes up, you see, um, I thought, well, I'll just make the two hair spikes into like the horns, and I thought that actually turned out very nicely. Also, people in chat who are watching, I would love to hear your opinions on these. And actually, I'm gonna check something real quick. You know what? I just realized I never actually made a going live tweet, so let me fix that. Alright, now let's continue. So, next up on the list we have kind of an unfortunate one. This is for Panda U, and unfortunately I have zero clue why. But I've only had like minor interactions with this person. They were very nice. But I don't know why, am blocked by them on Twitter. Can't really say much beyond that because I don't really know much beyond that. However, I did like how this one came out generally. I used the Taukaka model, and I like the aesthetic that it gives. I like it. I like it a lot. Next up, this is a 2-for-1. A lovely little thing. This is for I'm thinking exclusively of their Twitter username, and I feel really bad about it because it's Matt and Fabio, and they are the two sort of minds behind Mystical Live. They're currently doing stuff right now, but you know what? That's all good with me. I just loved working on these individually, and I actually forgot to ask because I know Fabio requested that I do one of just them individually, and I have yet to get a confirmation for them as to whether or not they would like it in this video or on the thread of posts, and that's on me for being a little bit, just a smidgen, just kind of dumb. That's mainly my fault, I think. But I did like the way this came out. They said they stream, or like they are a duo, they stream as a duo. So I thought, well, a lot of the Persona Sprite like resources have the user and the persona together. So I thought that would be fun. And it was. With that in mind, let's move on to the next one, which is, I believe it's just Q. Oh yeah, it's Q-sama, but their Twitter at is Cutie-sama, and I just like making this one. They sent me their model, and almost immediately I clicked like, oh, I want to do a Margaret. I want to do a Margaret recolor for this, and I really like how it came out. I love the poses for a lot of these. One thing I will try to do generally is not have the poses be like super passive. Like, I don't want to do standing sprites if I don't have to. Probably the closest to that is the Tao sprite, but I just like the posture of that one. But like for this one, I believe this is one of her jumping attacks. I want to say JA, but I really like. So like normally I'm not a big fan of like I love saturated, like highly saturated colors, but I love this shade of blue that she has for her hair. I think it is fantastic. Also, sorry if I sound a little weird. My nose is stuffy. This person, so their Twitter @ does not exist anymore. And I could probably go back and look through. Actually, let me do that right now. Because, I know I definitely, like, worked on this as part of a request for them, but I don't remember what their @ is in their, like, oh, it's Inosuke Shadow Knight is their Discord, at least. But their Twitter @ I have no clue what it is now, because it is not what it was when I uploaded the sprite. So, if anyone has any leads as to what their new @ is, I can add that to the thread, and I would love to do that. Next is Tree Ninja. Tree Ninja is an interesting one. So generally for these, I try to have it so that their design somewhat fits their model, so I'm not having it like just be completely and utterly unrelated. Like if someone, like if I was told to do a palette of like, I don't know, like Gura, and I just put it over Iron Tiger, that would be hilarious, but I don't think that would be like a very good representation. Because normally if you do like a reference color palette in a fighting game, there's some similarity. Like, New 13 has a Penny Polydina color palette because they're both robot girls with the floaty swords and stuff. Or like, stuff like that. But in the case of this, I just liked how the color palette looked, and they had that kind of like, sort of, vest and tie aesthetic. And while this isn't, it's not that aesthetic to a T, I think this model, this character, Hyde from Under Night, I think he particularly did a good job of highlighting this, and I was really happy with how it came out. Next up, is Oh Corn Dog, or at least that was their old Twitter @ I don't know what the new one is. Let me see. Their new @ is Oh Popcorns. Popcorn's the pink battleship. Regardless, this one was a lot of fun to do as well. I love the shades of just pink and white on here. I love the shades of pink especially. I think there was something weird on the original sprite where like one random section of the pixels are purple for this specific sprite, and I noticed this while I was going through, and I was like, what? And then obviously had to color it in, but this one I remember being kind of interesting to go with. I like the color of the like eye on the book thing and on the hat. I think those came out pretty nice. And again, if you want me to go back, or if anybody is new in chat, feel free to ask. you're more than welcome to. I can go back. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you just want to give your opinion, like, oh, I like this, or oh, this could have probably been this way, I would be more than happy to hear it. Next up is Chaotica. I believe they are now Kira Chaotica, and they may have done a model change as well, which I sincerely apologize if this is no longer what you desire. In fact, if you'd like, just looking now, I have noticed that your model has changed to a notable extent. And if you'd like me to do a new color palette for you, I'd be more than happy to do that. So, next up, we have one that I am so excited for. It is my friend Reese. Reese is so hecking cool. In fact, I'm going to tag her right now to let her know. I know she's currently streaming right now, but if she comes in, I will more than happily come back to this. But this is a lot of fun to make because she sent me the reference of her model, and I think it was just her reference picture at the time. But I saw it and I immediately knew that I wanted to do a Makoto Naniya color palette, and I love how it came out. I love Makoto Naniya as a character. I can't play her well at all, but I just love her so much. She's so heckin' cute. And I actually, while looking for the sprite resource for this, found out that this move, Corona Upper, her uppercut, actually is missing certain active frames, while it's doing the move. But I think that's kind of funny because it's just oh yeah, for 3 60ths of a second, this uppercut just doesn't hit people. Your fists just stop for 1/20th of a second. I don't know if it's actually 3 frames it's missing. Let's look it up, in fact. Because I am very curious to see. Oh no, so I found a lot of these sprite resources in Dustloop, and every other comment for these is just great. Oh, it's missing 2 active frames, it seems. Which is hysterical. But now I have the page bookmarked because I want to see what that funny thing they wrote on the wiki was, or on Dustloop. But yeah, I have loved making this sprite, and it has introduced me to Reese, who is a wonderful person, and I could not be happier having done this. And I think that's really what it's all about at the end of the day. Next up. Oh, there we go. Is a Snail. I don't remember how to pronounce it, but their model is adorable. It is absolutely adorable, and there's so many cute little details, and I tried to fit in as much as I could. You may notice, actually, we can zoom in on the little Ahoge here. I tried to style it similar to how their antenna looks, because it's kind of hard finding characters who, well, have antennae. So I thought, oh, this is a really cute one, and also, the ahoge can kind of serve as an antenna. So I thought that was pretty fun. Next up, next. We got to keep the momentum going. We have Hanachu. Hana, the jellyfish VTuber. So I this is literally what my brain said. I saw the model, my mind thought jellyfish, and then it thought of S's poofy skirt, because it reminds me so much of a jellyfish, and I think this like whole pastel color palette came out really well. I really like how this came out. And the sword, I technically also cheated on the sword, because the colors that I picked from it are not directly from their model or any reference sheet. However, they are from their, it might have changed at this point, but they are from what was their banner at the time. And I thought, well, that's official art, so I'm gonna make it so that it counts, just so the sword doesn't look like the rest of the model, and it stays visually distinct, because I like having that little visual distinction, unless the original model has, like the original Sprite has no major visual distinction between the weapon and the rest of the outfit / design. Overall, a very fun one to do. I love the pastel aesthetic. Next up, we have Zeokami. Zeokami is a very nice person. They were super nice while this was being worked on, and it was definitely an interesting one to tackle, because I wanted to do, or rather, I was kind of confused as to how to go about the hair streaks for this one, and then I ultimately decided on making it so that what would be the shine up on the hair, like by the face, I ended up turning that and then the little tiara thing into the red streaks in the hair, and then the rest of it kind of just followed suit. However, since there's no fluff on the ears on this, I used the ear fluff colors for the color of the sword, and I think that's one of the more fun ways I've thought outside of the box for this one. Now, I did mention before that I technically, and let me emphasize this, okay? Technically, I did break my own rule. I technically cheated here. The reason for that being, it was quite late at night while I was finishing this up, and I didn't want to, you'll notice all of the outlines. I didn't want to go back and, like, look through the model for, like, okay, I need something to do the outlines, so I just left the outlines as is. And technically, there does exist at least one frame, or one pixel, on the original model and the original reference that I was given that has the exact same, is the exact same shade of, like, black as the one that's used on the outlines. So it's not cheating. It's not cheating. It's just being lazy, and it worked out for me. Although, this one is for Gunslinger OG, I just realized I forgot to mention. And this one makes me especially happy, because Gunslinger liked this one so much that they actually made it their profile picture for quite a while, and that is that just makes me all warm and fuzzy, if I'm being honest. Next up is Sweet Leaf, also at Sweet Tanuki Tea on Twitter. So when they sent the reference sheet and the model to me, they had a lot of like gears and like that sort of steampunk aesthetic, and it just reminded me of Carl Clover immediately. So I had to do a Carl Clover one, and it actually ended up progressively working more and more. And I know I this obviously applies to a lot of models, but I know like theirs I believe has changed somewhat. But I don't know. I find this like even if it becomes so detached to the point that that like their model at some point in time like no longer even remotely resembles this in terms of a color palette. I think again, aside from the memories that I have working on it, I think it's just a very nice set of colors here. It's got that like chocolate raspberry caramel aesthetic, if that makes sense. Next up is Antaru. And based on like what they had for their model, this one actually brings up an interesting story. Is while I was looking for stuff like Chaos, the character from Under Night, very much fits their aesthetic, or at least fit their aesthetic when they sent me their stuff. Obviously that may change, and I can't affect that. But when they sent me their model, I was like, oh, Chaos would be perfect for this. And I believe they ended up saying that it reminded them, because Chaos uses a book, and Catalyst is their favorite Genshin weapon. I may be remembering that wrong, but you know. But what I ended up finding that was super interesting is that for Chaos, a lot of his sprites on like the resource sites have the SFX, like the because Under Night uses a lot more like visual special effects as opposed to having like just sprite based effects on them, and a lot of his stuff had those effect stuff on it. And at the time I was still being kind of iffy on whether or not I wanted to like tangle with that sort of stuff, but I am very happy that I decided to go ahead and do it. Next up we have Makitaki. Makitaki is an interesting one and a fun one. So, based on their outfit, I just immediately was like, okay, yes. I want to do Mitsuru color palette. And I tried to fit in as much detail as possible. I have the little blonde streak here on the side. And their three main colors I tried to use for this sort of like unique gradient shading that I thought was really cool. And ultimately I just like how it comes out. People might question the logic of a jacket that is blue for the main part and yellow for the sleeves, but don't worry about it. Okay. Next up, oh, this is a fun one. This is from my good friend Mello, and this is a big one. This is a very big one, because I picked, like, I don't remember specifically why, but based on the information they gave me, I decided to pick a Ken sprite from Persona Arena. Fun fact, also, Persona Arena is coming out on Steam on, I believe, March 17th. 2022. Definitely pick it up if you have the chance. It is a very fun game. However, this is a big sprite. This is a very large sprite. Let's see if I can extend it to the point where you can see the individual pixels. So you see, you can kind of see it here. That's a lot. That is a lot of pixels. It's quite a few, and I love doing it. I love doing it. However, I think I bit off slightly more than I can chew, but it turned out really well, and I don't regret doing this. And now we move on to the next person. Next up is the Ruby 8. Is Ruby. Their Twitter is the Ruby872. And I mean, literally, I'm gonna be honest for you. My entire choice for this was I saw Ruby, I saw cat, and my brain went cat. I wish it was more complex than that, but it's really not. I am not exactly the biggest brain. But yeah, this is really fun to do. I love the various shades of like pink and red. I think that obviously is the defining thing here, but I just like it, and I love this little Juve sprite of him just kind of like sidestepping me, like, oh, what's going on over there? Next one. Oh, this is another one that was definitely took a good bit of time, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. This is the sprite for... Hold on. This is the sprite for Ice Bell. Ice Bell, ice cream themed VTuber, if it wasn't obvious. And I thought, oh, ice cream? What if I just make it my favorite Ruby character, the ice cream girl? I am not disappointed with how it turned out. I think it turned out really nicely. And this is another one where I got to sort of have fun with the pastel aesthetic. And it turned out really nicely. And I love, in particular, how the little stripes on the shirt there came out. Yeah. Oh man, it's just fun one after fun one after fun one. Next up is Juju May Cries, or Juju's. So this is one that, like, I can't describe it in any other way aside from this looks too cool. Like, I don't know how I managed to like make it look this cool. Obviously, like, their sprite and their like color work was a lot of it, but like, dang, I never expected it to look this cool. Because here's the thing, Carmine is already pretty cool and pretty edgy, but like, just this little bit, it's like this could be an actual Carmine color palette in Under Night, and I would not doubt you if you told me that it was. Just because I love how the color palette looks on this model and on this character, and this sprite specifically is his command throw, which is always, or not his command throw, just his regular throw, but it's always fun to use because of the lifesteal. And I love in particular the red inside for the hair. I think that was really fun, and when it all came together, I was very happy. Next up, we have Chio. Chio Warakuma. I don't know what it is. Or how to pronounce that last bit. I am so sorry if I just butchered that. I probably did, and I'm very sorry. But, this is another one I really liked. Purple and orange is not something you commonly see, or at least not something that I commonly see, done together, but I think it looks very nice, and I do like how it came out. And obviously the white and the yellow further accent that, but it's just really fun. I know that I've said that a lot, but I love every single person's palettes, models, designs who've sent me stuff in, but it's always the stuff like this that like it stands out because it's like, ooh, this is a color scheme that I haven't seen a lot of before, and I actually really like it. Next up is, oh, we've come back around to the start of the playlist. Don't worry about it, chat. Don't worry about it. How many minutes has it been? It's been almost half an hour. You know what? That's if you guys really want me to change the music, I will. But it's quick little like minute long music box blurbs. So I don't know if it really bothers you. I'll change it, but if not, we're just gonna keep rocking. This is Hanako, the Dragon VTuber, at Ichigo on Twitter. I don't think she needs too much introduction. She's pretty dang cool. And this one actually has an interesting set of inspiration, or rather resources. So the main model, like the main sprite, that being Yuzu herself, her jacket, her clothes, everything except for the sword, is all, the colors for that are all taken from Hanako's model. However, the sword in its entirety, all of the colors on that are from another design that she has called God Hanako. And I thought it would just be kind of cool to have them as like two unique entities, because they're two very unique designs, and I like them a lot. So next up is a very, very nice and very special person. Is Vakihana. Longtime fans of the channel may recall that this is the first person that I ever collabed with, and I cannot be more thankful to Vakihana for it. I really appreciate her taking her time and collabing with me. It was a very fun experience. Also very fun experience was making this model, because with the ghost aesthetic, I can kind of lend myself to do a unique way of shading. So for the original, for Orie's hair, it doesn't have this like gradient, this what I would call the ghost gradient, and I like how it came out. I really do. And obviously the dress and the legs are supposed to represent her little wispy ghost tail. Overall, I liked it a lot. Next up, you may have remembered I mentioned Gura earlier, and there is technically a reason for that, aside from the fact that she's just, well, pretty dang famous, if I do say so. Did I forget to download it? I forgot to download it. Hold on. I think I just genuinely forgot. Alright, is that it? I think that's it. We confirm. Okay, I'm only slightly dumb. I'm only mildly unintelligent. This is the Gargura one that I did. It's based off of her original design. So not the cat one, although I do like the cat one a lot. And not that new one, but that new one looks very cool. But yeah, I think it's generally pretty obvious, in terms of like the blue, the slight red, the white accents, the hair. The trident I used as a reference, obviously, for her anchor. Originally, I was actually going to use Amelia Watson's color palette for that, but then I just thought, why don't I just do a separate Amelia sprite at some point in the future? And I think I might. But also the dolphin for the Totsugeki is based on her little shark mascot, and that was a very fun thing to do, because it's like, oh, it's like, it looks kind of like a shark, but it's actually a dolphin, because Totsugeki. Yeah. Next up, one of my earliest friends that I made while I was VTubing, before I started streaming actually, is Haruhaze. Very fun. I need to stop saying very fun, because my brain keeps defaulting to it. But I loved, I looked at their general design, like their color palette and stuff, and picked Chie because it just all kind of fit together. And I love how it's come out. I think Haru's doing a redesign, but I did actually ask if they wanted me to change this sprite at all, like upload sort of a 2.0 of it. And they were like, you know what? No, it's fine. And if they change their mind, I am more than welcome. I'm more than happy to do an update of it. Because I enjoyed doing this one. I enjoyed doing all of these, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Which takes us actually to our next one, which is Ichigo Hellcat. So for VTubers, a number of VTubers specifically have like that cat aesthetic. And unfortunately, there's only so many cat characters in fighting games. But this is Blake Belladonna's sprites from Blaze Blue Tag. And I did manage to fit a lot into this. Obviously, her model is generally used for Blake's, but you may notice that the sword that she has is a raspberry sword. Or not raspberry, I'm dumb. A strawberry sword. So, like, the little gold bits there are like the berry seed things on the side, and the red is obviously the strawberry, and the handle is the leaf. And I like how this one came out, but this also got me sort of into a bit of a concern that I will detail further, especially towards the end of this. But overall, I enjoy it. Next up is Flora Gislin. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. For all of these names, I hope I'm pronouncing them right. Yeah. They actually specifically requested either a Rachel or a lychee color palette. And I decided between the two that I think lychee would be better to like show off their colors and just kind of show off their general aesthetic, because Rachel is small in most of her sprites, if that makes sense. Like, she's got the umbrella, she's got her big poofy dress, and she's typically got some other attack that's taking up just as much, if not more, space than she is. But I like how Lychee's general posture and design lended itself to Flora's model and colors. This next one, okay. So, this is one that I made for Lulubelle, because I think I actually said it in the tweet. The reasoning for it, like specifically making this, was that she wasn't feeling too good that day. Like, she was kind of feeling, you know, kind of down, not doing so great. Ooh, I'm stuffy. Hold on, give me a sec. Oh my gosh, that's so much better. Oh man. Oh man, oh man. It's gonna come back in like 5 minutes, but that was so much better. But they weren't feeling too good that day. I don't remember exactly what it was specifically, but they just were feeling very down. So I made this in the hopes of kind of like cheering them up. And I hope it did. Oh, next up is a good friend. It's Minra. Get it? Cause their Twitter is it's Minra. Please laugh. So the general idea behind this is that Minra's aesthetic is that of an idol. And I was thinking, well, there's not exactly a lot of idol characters in fighting games. And then I thought of Rise from Persona Arena. And I realized, yes. And I specifically wanted to do this one because I love that this is an attack. This isn't a taunt, and this isn't like a idol sprite. This is like her, I think it's 2A, her Crouching Light. I just love this move. I love this move for the fact that you're attacking somebody by blowing a kiss at them. It's the best. And it's the perfect fighting game idol aesthetic. I will not take any criticism. Oh man. Next up we have Yenwells. Yenwells is a fun one. This is one that I feel, personally at least, you're perfectly welcome to disagree with me or otherwise say something else, but I personally believe this is probably the one that I feel is most accurate aesthetically to the original, just from like the general posture, the general design, and how the colors all come together in like their quantities and how they're positioned on the model or on the sprite. I think I'm just very proud of this one. I'm very proud of how, not to toot my own horn, but how faithful I kind of feel that it is to the original. I like it a lot. And the next up is actually someone who also specifically requested their sprite. This is, how do I pronounce that? I believe it's Kaitan? Kaitan? I don't know. But either way, she has a wonderful taste in characters. She specifically requested an Igus color palette because, as far as I'm aware, that is the general source of her inspiration, to the point that she calls herself Toaster Cat Girl Sniper. I don't really know what there is to say beyond this. I like this one especially because they requested an Igus one, and Igus just really works for them for obvious reasons. Oh, it's hype time. It is absolutely hype time, friends. It is Weeboo. It is Weeboo. That's right, it's Weeboo. Weeboo is the next one. Are you prepared? It's Weeboo. Weeboo moment. Where is she? Here we go. Oh man, the voice cracks. Oh. No. Scoob. This is Weeboo. Weeboo is fun. Weeboo is really fun. Where's the picture of Weeboo specifically? I need it. I need it. Where is Weeboo? Weeboo. Weeboo. I wish I had a voice mod set up right now just so I could do like an echoing like Weeboo. Yeah, Weeboo, very good friend. Had a lot of fun making this, and I love how it came out, and I love that Weeboo liked it too, honestly. But next up, we have I don't know how to pronounce that because I don't know how to make that mouth sound. So I know it, like, it's supposed to be like bunny, but the U is an X instead. But just because I'm evil and terrible, I am going to call it I'm going to call them Bixney. That's their name now. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry if you're somehow watching this, or this clip makes its way to you, or this video when I upload it, like, way too late. I hope you can forgive me for purposely butchering your name. However, I don't know how to pronounce that. However, ooh, serious time. We have the first instance of, you'll notice that the wings here are not like traditional sprites. They are the Undernight like special effects stuff. And this is one where I kind of had to create my own rule for this, is that ooh, it was a yawn. Since these sprites don't, well, since these special effects aren't technically sprites, they don't have to adhere to the sprite rules. And I'm gonna mute my mic to blow my nose real quick. Sorry, friends, I'm back. So since the special effects don't technically correlate to like the rules of the pixels, I essentially kind of just went roundabout with it and reshaded the hue to be that like main pink from the color palette, just because it's not Sprite, it's special effects, but I didn't want to just leave it the same red because I feel like that would be lazy. And honestly, I like how it turned out because it fits the aesthetic more. Next up is Momo, good friend. From what I heard, I don't know if this has changed, but from what I heard, she has at this point retired from formerly VTubing. I think she still has like the character and stuff, but to my understanding, has retired. Regardless, very nice person. I enjoy the conversations I have with her, and she's very sweet. And I like how this sprite came out. I definitely was not expecting the sword to look the way that it did, specifically with the little glowy bits there. But I'm gonna be honest, it kind of gives it that like Christmas light aesthetic, and I really like that. I really like that. Yeah. Next up. Next up is Reina, Reina Hayami. So, this is in a similar case. Reina is another person that has, as far as I'm aware, retired from VTubing. However, they still do live 2D riggings, and ooh, I particularly wanted to do this one for them. This is one of the ones that I did unprompted, because some of them I do unprompted, some of them people asked for it. By the way, if you are watching, feel free to ask me either on Discord or on Twitter, either on the thread or in my DMs. Both are open. You can ask to have a sprite recolor done. It is 100% absolutely free, and I would love to do it for you. But yeah, this is one in particular that I wanted to do because Reina was probably one of the earliest supporters of my content, and I just really enjoyed them for it. Next up, we have a definitely unique one. Where is... Oh no, don't tell me I lost theirs too. We have Ariakana, I believe is Ariakanad. I don't know. I am so sorry if I butchered that. However, this is a fun one because you may notice that it like seems a bit different from their color palette and stuff, and I wanted to point out, I did this on the post as well, I mainly for this one was going off of the reference images they had given me. So I understand that like the colors for this differ slightly. Ooh. But again, I still like the way it came together. It's an Outlum sprite, which, you know, Outlum's already cool. I drew a little bit to add like the I think you can see the little freckles there, kind of up right below the eyes. I like how those came out. And then the whip obviously is special effects because Under Night. So I did some more recoloring like that, kind of like how I did for Bixney. Yeah. Oh, by the way, play Melty Blood. It's a fun game. It's a fun game. Speaking of special effects, we have Arachne, I believe is how I pronounce that. Arachne. And Spider-Girl. So obviously, had to go with Byakuya because Spider-Go-Burr. And the, what do you call it? The little pincer thingies that Byakuya has. Those, in Under Night fashion, are special effects because they kind of float around and have their own more fluid animations. Um, However, because they're not sprites, I just sort of flat recolored them to the gray of Arachne's spider legs. Next up, next is Nagi. Swordsman Nagi, in between their aesthetic and the ice and the sword, I mean, it was Jin Kisaragi or it was Landrakia. So I didn't want to deal with Under Night's special effects too much, so I just went with Jin Kisaragi. And honestly, these colors really work. Like, they really work. They really work well. And I like it. I like it a lot. Speaking of colors that work very well, and I enjoy them, however, we have Code Princess. Code Princess was very fun because Izanami's hair is not split up like this. It's not. It's all one sort of like internal shade, and I thought they have the really cool internal rainbow hair. I'm going to do that for this. And I did. And I really like the way it came out. And you'll notice that the shading for the like lines and stuff is also respective to the color of the of the shade that the hair is on. And this is a fun one to work on. And I know I said a lot, all of these were fun to work on, but they're all fun in their own ways, you know? In particular, though, I do like the black and purple aesthetic of their outfit. Next is another famous one. This is Fruit, or Lich VTuber, you know, from VShoujo. It was her birthday, so I decided to crank this one out just because I had some downtime, and I was like, hey, birthday, here you go. I think Nine the Phantom is really cool, and it's very unique, like, this being, like, one of a sprite that gives her, white sclera, as opposed to, like, the typical black that she has. I think Fruit's colors lend themselves really well to Nine's overall design, and I like it. Next up is another one of those bigger VTubers, is Tricky Wee. So this one I actually wanted to do because I had learned that Tricky Wee is a big fan of the Thief King Bakura, which you may notice I have based this slightly off of, with the skin and hair color being obvious, and then the robes and like the gold banding and stuff, and his sort of under shirt and pants also coming through on here, and then Tricky being the Yukiko colors, as well as having a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And I'm gonna blow my nose again. I'm getting a whole pile of tissues at this point. I'm gonna have to throw them out. Oh man. Next one. Next one was for Bao's anniversary, and Bao is just like exclusively good vibes whenever I see her, and I really like it. And this is one that I actually wanted to try. This is a sprite not from an Arc System Works game. This is a sprite from Street Fighter Alpha. Which is probably my favorite, if not one of my favorite, if not my favorite Street Fighter games. This is Ingrid specifically from Street Fighter 3. And I obviously put Bao's colors over it, but in particular little standout thing here is the scales on the thigh. But this does kind of show part of the concern that I had with this thread is that I'm afraid of recycling characters, like reusing them, because I don't want people to feel like they're getting kind of like short-sold, if that makes sense. I don't want it to feel like I'm kind of just like hammering these out, because I get them done fast. Not fast, but I get them done on a relatively quick pace. But I have a lot of fun with it. And I want to put a lot of care into it and make each of them as unique as possible. And I am afraid of what's going to happen if I eventually have to start repeating characters. So I've been trying to find as many different sources and resources as I can. At least ones that don't break my fingers. Thank you, Arcana Heart. Never again. But yeah, this kind of gives me like this idea of, well, I'm thinking I have one idea as a solution, and I think it might it might flop. It might flop, but I'll mention it later in the video. Or in this stream, sorry. Next up, this is a very dated one. So, this is for the YouTuber Freem, aka as their Twitter says, Devourer of Doritos and Mountain Dew, which is a fantastic aesthetic if I do say so myself. Obviously, the one on the left, Minazuki, is based on Recolors, but the one on the right, you may notice, that's based off of Huggy Wuggy from Poppy Playtime. And the reason for it is because when that game came out, Freem kept on memeing like, oh man, I wish I could go on a date with Huggy Wuggy. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna put the two of them together in a sprite. And it's gonna be really cool and funny. But also it's gonna like slightly date this, the creation of the sprite. But you know what? It's all good. It is all good in the hood. And now we have, as of currently, we have the last entry on our list. And that is Gravity Queen. Gravity Queen, you guys may remember from the recent Risk of Rain collab. Everyone on there was obviously super fun, but Gravity Queen in particular asked me for a color palette, a Sprite recolor, and I was more than happy to do it, and I like how this one came out a lot. This obviously further highlights, I know I said later in the stream, and it's literally 2 entries later, and this is technically near the end of the Sprite recolors, but it was very fun to do all these, and doing this one in particular kind of gave me the idea of, if I do them in like seasons, then I can essentially break it up and say, okay, any characters that I used in previous seasons are now usable again in this season. I just can't use the same character twice in multiple seasons. So like my Natsume, I can't use my Natsume twice in the same season, but if someone in season 2 really fit that aesthetic, I could do a my Natsume sprite for them. Obviously it would hopefully be a different pose, but I think that's my personal solution to this little sort of dilemma that I'm having. And I think it's very good. I know this is a very short stream, and I'm really, 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 really sorry about that. But between between studies, me sort of coming off the heels of something with my sinuses just really bugging me. And just general other stuff. Like I'm making my model now. Like I'm making the hold on, let me just I'm making like the 2.0 of my model. However, if you've been following me on Twitter, you may be aware that it is at this point the third rendition of this new version of my model that I'm currently working on. And a lot of this has been kind of taking it out of me, unfortunately. So I am sorry that today's stream is only an hour. I know I kind of teased and suggested in multiple points that we would try doing a Metal Gear Rising stream, because I even said maybe we'll go over some rules of nature, referencing that first song. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm like very tired and my nose is very stuffy. I would absolutely love to stream Metal Gear Rising for you, especially if you guys want to see it, because that's a very fun game. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream. We are doing the Doom Eternal stream next, though. Can't forget that, because I have promised that. So after Doom Eternal, maybe we'll go back to Pokemon, maybe we'll do some Metal Gear Rising, maybe we'll play Tekken with Weebu. But, either way, thank you all so much for watching. It's been a blast making all these sprites for you guys, and it's been a blast talking to you guys about them. If you are watching this after the fact, either as a VOD on my Twitch, or when I finally decide to upload this VOD to my YouTube, on YouTube you can comment, but on Twitch you can go on Twitter, contact me on Discord. Let me know what you think of the Sprite Recolors, especially if one of them was yours, and for one reason or another you were unable to swing by and see yours. It's perfectly understandable, you know. But I do hope you all have a wonderful day. And yeah, thank you for watching.